Hello everyone, welcome back with more Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, and we're doing the side stories like we should have been from the very start. Alright, so we're still in part 1, I think. This way! You don't have to run. Sayori leads Monika over to a particular classroom, then lowers her voice to a whisper. See, in here! Monika peers through the window. Sure enough, there's a girl sitting alone, intently reading a book. I feel like a creep doing this. Funny, considering what you do in the future, Monika. You should go inside and talk to her. Me? You're the president, and I would probably scare her away. Okay, fine, I'll do it. Monika takes a deep breath, then timidly enters the classroom. Is it Yuri? That was fast! Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. Why, what happened? Well, I entered the classroom and she didn't even look up from her book. So I kind of just left the flyer on her desk and walked out. That's kind of cute. But I'm sure she'll see it and want to join the club. I hope so. Shall we head back now? The two head back to the club room, Sayori feeling rather accomplished and Monika still feeling a bit embarrassed by the encounter. Upon returning, Monika and Sayori resumed their strategy meeting. They discussed various different kinds of recruitment tactics, from the professional to silly. After going through Sayori's list, and with Monika coming up with ideas of her own, the two end in a better spot than from where they began. Well, I would say today was pretty productive, wasn't it? Yeah! I think we're starting to make progress. I can't wait to get some new members. Hey, what's this? Sayori peers at the sheet of paper Monika was jotting on earlier. Oh, don't mind that. I was just thinking to myself, join the literature club? Right the way into your heart? That's so cute! I thought it was a little overdramatic. But Sayori pauses and thinks for a moment. You know, I don't think you give yourself enough credit. What? What do you mean? Like, I don't know, I feel like I can tell from talking to you today. It seems like you're always afraid of doing something wrong. Yeah, but would you call yourself a perfectionist? Yeah, I definitely am. I mean, I always have an idea in my head of how I want things to go. And it's like I can't accept anything less than that. But I think in the end, it helps me try my hardest at everything. So I don't think it's that bad. Like with this club, we have such an opportunity to make it into exactly how we envision it. But it feels like we only have one shot at it. So I'm just really afraid of it deviating from that. The vision. What's the vision? It's... Monika pauses to think, then shakes her head to herself. She sighs. She sighs. Did I say that right? I don't know. I just want everyone to... Monika trails off. Smiling, Sayori taps her finger against the sheet of paper. Right the way into your heart. I think what you're trying to do is to make the club that you need the most out of anyone. You're the one who knows yourself best, of course. But I'm here to help you. Monika returns Sayori's smile. It's sort of amazing how kind you are. We're really going to make this the best club ever. Sayori nods and the two remain silent for a moment, lost in thought. The only sound is the steady whisper of the air conditioner. The only movement is the afternoon sunlight, trickling its way in and out of the moving clouds. Sayori breaks the moment with a big yawn. Time to go home? You tell me, you're the president. In that case, today's meeting is officially over. I look forward to tomorrow. Me too. Sayori beams and grabs her things. You can go ahead, I need a few minutes still. Oh, I can wait. That's alright, I just want some alone time. In that case... Sayori waves enthusiastically at Monika. Good luck! Monika smiles and waves in return as Sayori spins her way out of the club room. She was spinning. All alone, she sighs to herself and takes a minute to zone out. She wasn't prepared for the self-reflection encouraged by Sayori, but she decides it was something she probably needed right about now. The club that I need the most. I don't get it. I just wanted to start a club with more passion. Something that could use to help lead people to happiness. Literature is the key to that. Because it's the window to the real person inside of us. Underneath the person who's forced to always smile and blend in. The person who's forced to be perfect. Monica suddenly notices a folder on the floor by her desk. Did she already leave this behind? I hope it doesn't have her homework in it. Worried, Monica opens the folder to check. Poems. It's a folder of poems. Become the flower. A feeling of joy as a flower plucked from the ground. The color, the scent. It's so pretty in my hair. Every day I pluck some flowers as though they grew just for me. A lifetime of peace and nourishment, yanked away in an instant. All for me, all for joy. I need more. I need more joy. I need more happy. Pluck, 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 every day. Pluck, pluck, pluck. So pretty in my hair. Pluck, pluck, pluck. You're going to die. And you, too. Beneath my feet, a flower stands alone. It beckons to me. It twists the stem, freeing it from its clinging roots, caressing the final joyous moment between my fingers. But to what ends? I look in every direction, in the field I stand in. The prosperous field is a barren wasteland. The fruits of my labor, the carnage of my joy. That is why I've decided I must become the flower. What the? Wait. Sayori? Whoa. That was pretty good. I think that actually might have unlocked... let's look at the pictures. Yeah, so we got that poem. I think that unlocked her ultimate poem. Alright, there we go. Let's check out the ultimate poem. There was once a ladybug. It was so small it took a really long time to crawl from here to there. It was a very tiring to fly for too long. Yeah, it was a very tiring thing to fly for too long. Why is that coming out so weird? Nobody squishes ladybugs because they're cute. Does that make them better than other bugs? Do ladybugs know they're cute? I think they're too preoccupied with bug things. And so the ladybug crawled around and did bug things. This story wasn't really going anywhere, but I know you don't mind. I hope you think it's nice for being there anyway. I like ladybugs, like this ladybug. The one who clings like a doof onto your sleeve because it knows you won't squash it. If it doesn't bug you, will you stay a while? Wonder who she's addressing there. Cool. The music was interesting too. We haven't gotten any... We got that background. How come they didn't give us the other backgrounds? Because we 100% saw the other backgrounds. I guess we gotta play the other side stories for it. But was that the end of that side story? I don't think so. That was probably just part 1. Oh, we got new mail? Oh, look, here's Paula. Staying focused on our goals. As a reminder to help guide our data collection, any analysis performed should be focused on answering some of these main questions. How does granting elevated access to the VM affect a person's emotional state? How does granting elevated access to the VM affect a person's values and goals? How does someone effectively navigate and experiment their ability to change the contents of their VM? How is elevated access being weaponized? What actions and values most contribute to the destruction of the universe? Most importantly, how might your observations apply to your own universe? Am I recording? I feel so weird. I feel so weird not checking if I'm recording. Alright, sorry. Alright. Most importantly, how might your observations apply to your own universe? Bonus, how can we present this to upper management as an operation that benefits the company? Unrelated note, whoever changed the color scheme of the desktop to pink, can you please change it back? It's unprofessional and it runs the risk of drawing eyes. Hold on. Why can't I scroll down? Doesn't let me scroll. That's weird. We definitely got some new music, I know that. Did we? Well, I'm pretty sure we got new music, because that freaking side story had so many things going on. Our data collection is at 80%. So, okay, was that part... Actually, I don't know if we did part 2. We're about to do part 2. This should be different. Yeah, okay, here we go. Another day passes in a flash and it's already time for the next club meeting. Although Monica should have come up with a plan for today's club task, she hasn't been able to shake her guilt and anxiety after reading Sayori's poem. I'm so stupid. How did I let myself be the center of attention? Sayori is going through these kinds of feelings, and I'm letting her comfort me instead of the other way around. What kind of club president does that? This whole time I didn't think to ask about her own feelings. So much for the stupid vision. Sayori enters the clubroom with her usual smile, but upon seeing the downcast Monica, her smile quickly fades into an expression of concern. Monica? Is everything okay? I'm really sorry. I'm such a terrible friend. Huh? What are you talking about? You're an amazing friend. Monica shakes her head. I made this all about myself. You said so yesterday. You told me that I'm trying to make the club that I need the most, right? But my problems are so trivial compared to yours. Sayori responds quietly. What are you talking about? But as she says that, her face darkens. Through the silence, Sayori mutters her realization. I left my folder here. Monica stares blankly ahead, unable to come up with a response. I wasn't ready to share those. Now you're worrying about me. I don't want that. But why? We're friends, right? Wordlessly, Sayori nods. Friends look out for each other. I want to be here for you as much as you're here for me. Another long moment passes in silence. The air is incredibly heavy. This is different. It wasn't about you yesterday. It was about the club. Besides, things were so happy yesterday. You don't need to do this all of a sudden. I don't want it. I like happy. So, if you do this, then you're just being selfish. Monica massages her forehead, struggling through the frustration of such paradox. It's understandable that Sayori isn't ready to share certain things, but as unfair as it is for Monica to pry, it's also painful for Monica to force herself to ignore the needs of her friend. I'm sorry that looked. I disrespected your privacy. No, I don't blame you for looking. You would have at least needed to check it if it was mine. Yeah. Monica takes a deep breath. Okay. I understand that you don't want me to worry. I think I'll be able to put this aside so that we can move on. But, can you promise me something? Promise you what? Monica pauses to collect her thoughts. This is the Literature Club. It's a place where people can express themselves in the ways that life normally doesn't allow them to. That's the vision. In fact, it's our vision. Right the way into your heart, or whatever. So, I just want you to promise me that you'll remember that too. It doesn't have to be right now, but I want to be here for you when you need it. I want us to be ourselves like that. Sayori smiles gently. I'll promise if you promise. Unable to help it, Monica returns Sayori's smile. I promise. Me too. As the conversation closes, the mood in the room is lifted. With that behind him, it's time to proceed with the club activities. So, want to teach me about poetry? Huh? But what about recruitment? It's fine, we have plenty of time for that. But right now, I feel like I want to do this. I mean, I do have to fulfill my end of the promise, you know? There's no way I could say no to that. Just don't expect much. I do a lot of writing. It's not like I'm a scholar or anything. That's fine. I think I just need, like, some motivation. I never know where to start when it comes to writing poems. Starting isn't so hard. You kind of just need to write down your feelings and see where it takes you. Yeah, but that wouldn't come out any good. It's not supposed to. You're gonna have to fight your perfectionist mind on this one. You can just start by writing your feelings and see what kinds of things it makes you think of. And then you can turn your feelings to a little story. You can get your feelings down first, then make it sound pretty later. It's like not building a railroad where you go from one end to the other. It's more like a collage where you find all the things you want to put in and then you arrange them in a pretty way. At least that's how I do it. It's not like it's the only way, but it's a really good way not to get stuck right at the beginning. I understand. Yeah. I always get so caught up in how it sounds that I forget what is actually important. What is actually important. Monica pulls out a pen and paper to start writing on. Stop being a perfectionist. You idiot. I'm just kidding. Monica scribbles out, "You idiot," after she writes it down. No, keep it. What? Why? Are you calling me an idiot? Of course not. But the point is that you're not supposed to police your feelings, right? Be as dramatic as you want. But I was just... well, yeah. Underneath the scribble, Monica rewrites, "You idiot." She stares at the paper. Her words stare back at her. It's kind of funny how I wrote down what I'm mad... It's kind of funny how I wrote down what I'm mad at myself for, and then I did the exact thing anyway. This is really going to take some getting used to. I believe in you. Thanks. I do too. I mean. But also you, of course. Monica continues to exercise jotting down her thoughts. It's surprisingly quite a struggle to write without overthinking. But after a while, with serious guidance and encouragement, Monica's sheet of paper begins to look fairly lively, peppered with all her random thoughts. Phew. Monica looks up and down her sheet. Ugh. Gosh, I feel so tense looking at this. I hate it. But it's also kind of liberating. I can tell how hard you're trying. It makes me happy. I think you'll be good at writing poems. Don't give me too much credit. I love to try really, really hard at it. But I think it's something that I'll enjoy doing. With you. Surya beams. I'll stop here, but we still have time. Let's try to work on a new flyer for the club. I won't be so picky about the language. Yay, let's do it! Monica and Siri proceed with their work. With each passing day, the two of them become more confident in the club. Not simply from their recruitment planning, but from their vision as well. As their bond strengthens, so does the essence of the literature club. Finally, they begin to truly feel it's only a matter of time before they find more members. Another day passes. As usual, Monica is the first one to the club room. With her is a printout of the revised literature club flyer, complete with the all-new ideas Monica and Sarah came up with. If only this was a flyer we gave that one reading girl the other day. It's so much more attractive than the old one. But the new catchphrase is featured clearly in the center of the flyer. Write the way into your heart. Surely common sense would say that one writes from the heart, not into the heart. But the message being delivered is the one that can use writing to discover themselves. Hopefully, Monica and Suri had thought that it would be enough to garner some curiosity from students. Why do I feel so tense looking at this? Monica thinks back to the previous meeting when she performed the writing exercise. Was I always this bad at expressing myself? How am I supposed to be president if I can't even demonstrate what a club is supposed to be about? The literature club is truly beginning to take form, but with that, the weight on Monica's shoulders only becomes heavier. Debate club was always about rigid structure, formulating airtight points and counterpoints, and delivering them with conviction. It was about the person on the outside. That's why Monica was so good at it. It existed entirely within her realm of comfort. It's suffocating. I need to break through this mental wall. I need to learn to express myself for real. Monica pulls out a sheet of paper and grabs her pen. She presses the tip of the pen firmly against the paper. but her hand doesn't move. Instead, a tiny blot of ink collects around the tip of her pen. Just like her other poems mentioned, Monika lifts her pen and stares at the little blotch. For some reason, she feels compelled to run her finger across it. As she does so, the black ink smears across the paper, ruining Monika's canvas. Ugh. Out of spite for herself, Monika presses her pen down once again, letting the ink collect. She creates a second smear on the paper. Come on, Monika. Just move your hand! Monika writes. This is what I get for seeking perfection. A stain. That's a Monika poem. I don't think we collect that. Because there's no room for it on the poems, because I think we get 2 Natsuki poems, and we've technically got the unlock for all the Monika poems, so I don't know. Monika slides the paper away from her and puts her head down on the desk. The air conditioner seems louder today. I'm here! Hi. Monika hears Sayori approach her desk, then stop for a second, probably reading the piece of paper. Then she sits down in the adjacent desk. Bad day? Mm-hmm. Me too. You too? The new flyer looks so good. You've been working so hard. On the club, but also something else, I think. I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's so hard to just be vulnerable. Suri takes a sheet of paper from Monika's desk. She writes something down, then stares at it for a while. Can I trust you? Of course. You can trust me with anything. Sayori gazes at Monika with sadness in her eyes. Understanding the signal, Monika takes the paper from Sayori's desk and reads it. Sometimes I want to die. Oof. Sayori. This is really, really hard for me. Her voice shakes. So if I can do it, then you can too. Because you're like a million times better than me. It's completely not true. Sayori takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Shit, this is actually getting to me. That's something about me that I've never told anyone before. Even now, my head is like screaming at me to stop. Wait, you don't have to force yourself. I mean, just because of the promise yesterday, I want to. It just feels right. I mean, maybe it's part of the reason I came to this club in the first place. This is the literature club. I trust you more than I'm scared. At those words, Monika stands up. Sayori must have taken days to work up the courage for this. Were Monika's own futile but genuine efforts actually the push that Sayori needed? Sayori's deliberate breaths can be heard over the air conditioner. She prepares herself to continue. Monika waits in gentle silence. I have this problem where I get really upset when people worry too much about me. I can't control it. It's like, why waste your energy worrying about me when you can just be happy instead? So I'll never tell anyone about these kinds of thoughts that I have. It's so much easier to just smile and help everyone else be happy. But that's terrible. That's what Monika wants to say, but she stops herself in fear of saying the wrong thing. It's just that if everyone knew about it, they wouldn't treat me the same anymore. Like, whenever I'm not smiling, everyone would worry about me and ask me what's wrong. I know that because it used to be like that. Sayori pauses, seeming to recall something in the past. I just want everyone to be happy. That's the most important thing to me. And letting people look inside my head doesn't bring happiness to anyone. Sayori pauses again, her solemn expression making her look almost like an entirely different person. How did you find the courage to tell me this? You're not worried that I'll be one of those people too? I am worried. Part of me really hates myself for doing this. But another part of me, I think, just felt like it would be different this time. Whenever we talk about the club is supposed to mean, I kept feeling like it was right for me to do. Especially after you've been trying so hard to express yourself, too. It made me feel like I could say it in confidence, and our friendship doesn't have to change. It's so silly. The club is only 2 people. It already means this much to me. Monica feels a tightening sensation in her heart. The feeling of a connection as Sayori's emotions radiate between them. Me too. I was so lost until you showed up. You're so brave, Sayori. You're so strong and brave. I don't even compare. Monica steps forward. But, if nothing else, I can at least offer you some hug energy. If you'd like. Wordlessly and without a smile, Sayori rests her forehead on Monica's shoulder. Through their contact, Monica can almost feel the torrent of thoughts swimming in Sayori's head. In this moment, enchanted by the air of the club, Monica realizes that all the days that have passed, this is the one where she really hopes that nobody new walks through that door. She speaks softly. You're like the sweetest girl I've ever met. You can say anything, I'll never judge you. I promise. Sayori's breath begins to quiver. She takes several deep breaths, trying as hard as she can to start speaking, to say the things she never once dared to say out loud. Finally, she speaks in a choked voice. I'm so worthless. Worthless. Everyone would be better off without me. She suppresses a sob as a tear falls down her cheek. I'm just an inconvenience to everyone. I'm not good in anything, and it feels like everyone just has to put up with me, and I hate it. I hate it. The more Sayori speaks, the more she fails to control her voice, falling victim to the overwhelming sadness clutching at her throat and chest. I don't want to have these thoughts. I want them to go away, and now I'm making you put up with me. I just want to die. As soon as Sayori loses her composure, Monica becomes determined to keep her own. She only wants to be what Sayori needs right now. She won't let any sadness show. Her voice comes through as soft and gentle. This isn't putting up with you. It's just being your friend. Monica offers a few words of comfort. But she knows, Sayori said it herself, that the thoughts of Sayori experiences are ones that don't belong. And Monica can't magically make them go away. The most she can do is help Sayori battle them, like any good friend would do. You have so much value. To me and your friends too. This club wouldn't have been the same without you. I really mean that. You coming here was the best thing that could have happened. Even if we never get any other members, I would still be happy. That's what you brought here. You brought us a vision, and you also brought happiness. And that's your favorite thing to do, right? Sayori doesn't respond, but Monica feels her gently nod. No more words are needed between them. The two share their embrace for a while longer, Monica letting Sayori take as much time as she needs. Once her breathing steadies, her sniffles fully cease, Sayori lifts her head and wipes her eyes. I guess I needed that. Some days are harder than others. Well, I'm here whenever you need me. But any other time, I'll make sure that things are the way they usually are. If that's what makes you happy. Thanks. You're the best. No, you are. The two exchange smiles. You know, I'm sorry to bring this all up all of a sudden, but have you considered talking to a professional? Sayori nods. It's scary, since it's already so hard to tell people. Yeah. Well, of course it will always be your choice, but if you're ever looking to find the courage for it, I can do my best to help you. Thanks. I think it helps knowing that you would. Sayori suddenly yawns and stretches. Wow, that made me tired and hungry. Well, I won't make you do any work today if you're not up for it. No, I want to. I mean, I can say that it's definitely one thing that makes me happy. Monica smiles. But I might want to get a snack first. All of a sudden, the sound of the door causes the two of them to turn their heads. The door opens halfway, then stops. A face peeks inside. A face that seems familiar. Wow. Man, I wasn't expecting the side stories to be like, just BAM! Hit you hard in the field. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but I almost lost my composure there. I did tear up a little bit. But yeah, just, woo! Woo! Looks like we got another mail. Re-ethics. Simply put, it's not our job to arbitrarily decide upon some code of ethics just because we're the first one to do this to our knowledge. That's the government's job to figure out long after we've made it enough headway for it no longer apply to us. It's fundamentally flawed to apply ethical reasoning to this anyway, because humanity's code of ethics is based upon nothing more than our knowledge and understanding of life forms similar to ourselves. We don't have ethics for killing bacteria or plants, only the creatures that we convincingly project our emotions onto. The humans in our VMs operate completely differently from us on a fundamental level. Therefore, she should not be taken any more seriously than a machine that's programmed to print. I feel sad. We're engineers, not philosophers. Jeez. Way to just be like, don't you dare feel anything for these characters. Freaking Paula. Also, the irony of that whole side story, like, it was really beautiful how Monica and Sayori connected, but it's also Monica that basically betrays her a bit in, the main game. If you know what I mean. So that's kind of messed up, but at the same time, that was still really, really nice to see. I really liked that. No scary stuff, so I think we might be okay for future. Let's see. Yeah, there's a freaking poor Sayori crying. I think, yeah. Yeah, those two little extra poems that weren't really poems, just like words on the paper, didn't get added. So we have one more not to keep poem that's going to show up at some point here. And we unlocked some more music. I don't know which ones, because it doesn't actually tell me which one I unlocked. You can see we're up to 20 now. What's our settings at? We're at 81%. So that's cool. So, okay, so I have an idea that seems like... I really hope... Man, that means we're going to have a lot of parts. If it takes me a whole episode to take one part of each side story. I might take a different approach next time. Next time I might try to squeeze both parts in there, because this one was a little different since my first episode started off with like half of it being about some other stuff. So maybe I'll increase the time limit for the extra episodes just to try to squeeze the whole side story in. We'll see. I'll see. Not entirely sure how I'm going to do this. We'll figure it out as we go. Anyway, catch me next time with more Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. This is Firemac saying toodles.